surface, just in the skin, which is probably how eyes began. As long as that was useful to the animal for doing whatever it did, just detecting light and dark, then that would have been an adaptive advantage, which would have been selected for. And then, as long as those things vary a bit and are inherited, then you can imagine, gradually over eons of time, then each of the things individually mutating, so being selected, could be capable of generating even something as complicated as life. So that obviously applies to the brain, doesn't it? Well, I think it can't. It actually can't. There are real problems in producing simple selective arguments for the production of complex pathways in which each bit of the pathway is being separately transcriptionally regulated, and in which you get the whole thing together is what does the job. Take, for instance, not just the eye, but all the connections to the brain. The eye connects to a structure in the middle here, the lateral genicular nucleus of thalamus, it's a synaptic relay here, which then goes up to the primary area, the visual area, back then into all these other areas here, and it all has to fit together properly and be connected together to work. How could, tinkering with one bit of it possibly have been coordinated with the necessary tinkering and all the rest to produce all this? I mean, give a specific example. Primates are probably unique amongst mammals in having a visual pigment that's specifically sensitive to red light. Most mammals are dichromatic, they have blue and green sensitivity. Primates, there's suddenly a mutation of the green generating pigment which replicated itself and inverted and became differently sensitive, and suddenly there were animals, old world monkeys, not new, that were sensitive to red light. And that seems to have precipitated a very rapid development of visual analytical pathways. In a monkey, in human and monkey, you can find distinct areas up here somewhere, well, down here somewhere, B4, B8, whatever, which seem to be necessary for chromatic analysis. When they're damaged in humans, a specific loss of colour vision as a result of cortical damage. Equivalent areas have not been found in other species, other than old world monkeys. And in fact, I suspect other cats which have blue and green sensitivity, they could do colour discrimination. They're incredibly poor at it. It takes thousands and thousands and thousands of trials to teach a cat to make the simplest colour discrimination which a monkey can learn in seconds. Probably has to do with this new set of cortical areas. And you think, well, how can a new set of cortical areas, a new bit of tissue, with new connectivity from V1, have you produced as a result of a mutation in a visual pigment? And over rather a short period of evolutionary time as well. So I think this is a real problem for conventional selective environments. And I think the answer to that must lie in the fact that the brain, neural pathways, have to be intrinsically adaptive and modifiable to be constructed even in the individual level. Forget about evolution. To make a visual pathway in a human being requires rules which are flexible. We couldn't possibly program our visual system by saying, well, every retinal ganglion cell will connect to a particular neuron, which will definitely go to a very particular part of the body. There's just too much information involved in specifying that. And there's very good evidence that it's done much more cleverly in terms of general rules. We will produce ganglion cells, not optic nerve fibers, make sure they grow towards the right place, pathways exist, let them fan out into the developing lateral genicular nucleus, fill it up, use whatever synaptic space there is, and those that don't find any space will just die. So they're in excess. So that matches together the mapping of the thalamus to the cortex. And then the same thing happens again between the lateral genicular nucleus and the visual cortex. So if you look at individuals using scanning methods, the size of the primary visual cortex varies by a factor of more than 2 between normal humans. And that corresponds, it seems to correlate precisely with variations in the size of the lateral genicular nucleus and variations in the number of ganglion cells in the eye and the number of optic nerve fibers. They're all just beautifully matched together, and that's not done by absolute genetic control. It's just done by the captive process. And it's very clever, it sort of simplifies the whole task. So I can show you a particular example. Here I'm looking at how the projections from sense organs develop in rodents, rats, let's say. This is what it's going to look like with different sense organs, the ears, the eyes, the skin, in this case, let's say the whiskers, mapping into different parts of the thalamus, different nuclei of the thalamus, and then they send their axons off to different parts of the brain. We know from that picture of the evolution that these are very highly regularly organised across the hemispheres, across all. Now, so that basic pattern is set at a very early stage of evolution. Well, these fibres then have got the task of finding their way to the correct place where the map's being formed. And that is done at a stage when the brain looks like this. This is half of a rat brain, 14 days after gestation. Here's the middle. Here. This is what's going to be the cerebral cortex. But at the moment, it has few, if any, nerve cells in it. It's just full of stem cells that are going to make neurons at this stage, 14. And equally, what is going to be the thalamus is this little bunch of stuff here, not yet recognisably divided into different regions. Those cells have just migrated there a couple of days earlier. And they've got to send their axons down here through the internal capsule up to the precisely right places all the way across here. And they do it at a very early stage. They do it before there are any real cortical nerve cells formed, which is really remarkable. So the controlling mechanism must be inherent in the pathway. And the controlling mechanism comes from nerve cells which are born at a very early stage, but which don't survive. At around the 13th or 14th day of gestation, the stem cells start to produce the first nerve cells, which are very close to where the cortex is going to be. They're very unusual cells, and they're a transient population, the pre-plate. Most of them don't survive, they die a little later, so they perform some function during the development. And they do that before there are any real cortical neurons that move into place. And the function that they seem to be performing is to produce a guidance structure, scaffold, over which the fibres that are coming out of the cortex can grow. This is work, by the way, done by Zoltan Molnar. He's now a professor in the second point, isn't he, here? And he used this technique, a beautiful technique, a very simple technique, of putting a crystal of fluorescent dye into a fixed embryonic, tiny fixed embryonic brain, rat brain. If you put a little tiny crystal into the surface of the cortex, the fluorescent dye diffuses along any axons that are present, so you can visualise in the confocal microscope here any nerve fibres that are coming from the region where you've deposited the crystal. And here they are. This is the 14th day of gestation. Already there are nerve fibres coming from these early cells that are going to die later on. And they grow downwards, ordered pattern, ending up, and they stop just at the entrance to the internal capsule. And at the same time, fibres are growing down from the thalamic cells here, they turn through here, and they meet here and grow over the surface of the scaffold. So whoever they meet becomes a partner that then guides them to a particular place. So it's essentially sort of control, not chemical control, and that's pretty clear from this experiment, in which we use tissue culture methods to put together different bits of the embryonic cortex with different bits of the embryonic thalamus. Now, in the normal rat, each part of the thalamus ends up going to exactly the correct place of the cortex. But if you put them together in a dish and let them grow and then see whether one will connect to another, you put a visual part of the thalamus in the middle of it, okay, which should only ever go to the occipital part of the cortex, the visual cortex, and you give it the choice of going into a bit of frontal cortex, which would never innovate in the normal rat. You find it happily grows into both of them, no discrimination. So this is not a chemical lock and key system, it just depends on where they get to. Where they get to is dependent on that interaction with the scaffold. So, clever system. And equally, I won't go into the details of the evidence, it's very clear that the total mapping across it is not regulated precisely, it's just regulated by how much space there is. So any bunch of incoming fibres will grow into the cortex, however big the cortex is, just fan out and fill it all. So it's just very simply regulated, and needs to be. I think in evolution it's been able to take advantage of those developmental adaptive processes, because it can play a mutation which changes slightly, for instance, the number of cells at a particular point. It won't just be lost or useless or unused, it will fit itself into the adaptive process that's already there, and kind of fill a different brain. I think it just happens then that that bit of brain adds a marginal change in behavioural policy, then you can imagine the local mutational changes just accelerating that and consolidating it. Now, what that emphasises is adaptability, and that's really going to be the theme of the last few minutes. The the brain is, and this is a huge change in the way that we view the brain over the last 30, 40 years. I mean, in my lifetime as a researcher, I learned that all the cells that exist in the mammalian brain are already present at birth. In fact, it's downhill from birth onwards. You know, the gradual attrition cells, that damage can never be repaired, nothing can ever be replaced while you grow, everything's genetically determined. So all of that has been shown to be wrong. Stem cells in the brain, because in certain areas, local regeneration and growth is happening all the time in the brain, and there can be massive reorganisation. It's not fully understood, but it shows some amazing examples. First of all, there's very strong evidence that the brain goes through a phase of reorganisation shortly after birth when it confronts the real world, when its sense organs, which have been set up and connected in the brain, suddenly start being stimulated with stuff of the real world. It's pretty clear that the real world, at least in advanced mammals, the real world regulates but fine-tunes the organisation of the cortex to match the statistics of the analysis to the statistical properties of the world that the animals see and touch and wire. David Hubel and Torsten Wiesel were pioneers in this area in the 1960s. They won the Nobel Prize in 1981 for their work on cats and monkey visual analysis. What they did was to record with microelectrodes from individual nerve cells in the cortex of cats and their legs of monkeys. What you see here is one of their records. This is a direct photograph of the oscilloscope screen. These little blips are nerve impulses for one nerve cell. In an initialized animal. And the animal's looking at it, its eyes open, optically corrected, looking at a screen, and what it sees on the screen is this, a bar, an oblique bar, moving backwards and forwards. And you can see that the cell doesn't do anything, it's silent, and it gives a big burst of impulses as the bar moves upwards across a particular region of the screen. In other words, a particular region of the retina. Moreover, if you then try the same cell, try different angles of lines, you find that the cell responds best to this, it doesn't respond at all to horizontal to a vertical bar. It's highly selective for the angle of an edge. And that's a novel property that doesn't exist in the retina. It suddenly appears at the level of the vertical neurons. Presumably depending on the ensemble of incoming fibres that have arrived at each cell. Different cells respond to different orientations, so they speculated that the visual cortex, the primary visual cortex, is beginning the task of recognising shapes and boundaries in images. They did experiments that showed that, suggested anyway, that some of these properties were present very early on. As soon as the cat opens its eyes, they certainly find some cells that respond this way. Moreover, the cortical cells combine information from the two eyes, so they can stimulate in one eye or the other eye, and the cell responds to both. But cat or a monkey is reared with one of its eyes covered for a period of time, even for just a few hours actually, a crucial point in development, then the brain disconnects from that eye. The eye is perfectly normal, functionally, but the connections aren't formed onto cortical cells. So the cortex, so the input of the cortex is being regulated by the relative activity coming in from the two eyes. With Graham Cooper in Cambridge, in the early 70s, I did a parallel experiment to find out whether the orientation selectivity might also be influenced by what the animal sees. We reared cats in striped chambers, large plastic tubes painted with vertical stripes, then recorded from their cortex after this experience early in life, and found that there were rather few neurons, many more neurons that would respond to the things that they had seen than would respond to the other angles, as if the system had become biased towards what they saw. And that's been recently nicely confirmed using a technique called optical imaging. I won't go into detail.